to the online classes, and today we will be dealing with the first chapter in your supplementary reader, which starts, that is the third level. Okay, so you can get ready with your textbook, because we are just going to read out and I will be just explaining it. You have to have your textbook with you. Please, if anyone have not taken your books, please be ready with your textbooks. Okay, the third level by Jack Finney, and today we will be just discussing about the background of the story also, as well as we will be just starting with the story, because it's a supplementary reader and you can you by yourself read it and understand the text. Okay, so we will just start with it. The third level, and it's written by Jack Finney, and Jack Finney, the date of his, the period of Jack Finney is from 1911 to 1995, and he was an American writer, and he is best known for his science fiction. Science fiction, hope you are all aware about the science fiction, I suppose. So science fiction deals with the time, the most famous science fiction writer is H.G. Wells. His Time Machine is one of the famous book which has been known all over the world, and Jack Finney is also one of the writer, and he is best known for his science fiction and thrillers, and a few books which includes his thrillers or fiction is The Body Snatchers and Time and Again. So when you are just going, I'll just show you. Jack Finney. So the Nine People, here is one of his book, and again The Body Snatcher is one of the famous book of Jack Finney, and many of his stories or novels have been made into films also. Okay, so Body Snatcher, and I suppose only this is there. Okay. Yeah. So going on to the lesson, or going to the introduction of the lesson, the third level is deals with the irreversible harsh consequences of the war which have created the irreversible. Irreversible means which cannot be changed. Okay, the consequences of the war, and you know that war leaves people witnessing it in a state of insecurity and fear. People watch the war, they are helpless. They are the only thing they can do is to just witness the war with fear and also insecurity. And this particular this particular story, the third level, is about the modern day problems that the people are facing. The problems and the uncertainties. We can't predict anything, what will be happening tomorrow. Okay, so you might be remembering the classes were going on very smoothly, and we couldn't predict on the very next day. It was the kind of situation arose that we are not able to come to school. Okay, so we can't predict the insecurities or the uncertainties of the modern period, and the stress and through which everybody are passing, and from which everybody want to escape. All these things are being discussed in this lesson, and it is a story about a 31-year-old man named Charlie. Okay, so it's a story about a 31-year-old man Charlie and his psychological condition. He has some psychological problem, and it deals with his psychological condition in which he hallucinates. Hallucinates means he just wonders, or he himself imagines that such things are happening. Okay, so that is hallucination. It won't be occurring like that in reality, but he just imagines things and he hallucinates and visits a third level of the Grand Central Station, which has only 2 levels. Okay, so he, due to the psychological disorder, he hallucinates and he imagines that he has visited the third level of the Central Station, Grand Central Station, which actually had only 2 levels. Okay, so he claims that he had visited the third level. Okay, so he claims like that, and he is in his own world. He remains in his own world, and no third level was ever built. There is no third level at all. And however, Charlie believes in the existence of a third level. He believes that there is a third level, and he has visited that third level. And Charlie believes in the existence of a third level operating in time frame of 1980s, and that too not in the current era in which the story is happening or in which Charlie is living, but he goes back to the 1890s, the year before. Okay, he lives in the era of 1890s. And why is he going to this period, particularly the year of 1890s? Because it represents a peaceful life. Okay, the year of 1890s represents a peaceful life, which is not possible in the present scenario or present era. So I said that in the modern world is full of trouble, stress, and insecurities, uncertainties, etc. And he just goes back to the period of 1890s because that period was a peaceful period, and this peaceful atmosphere cannot be attained in during the era in which he is living. That is why he is going back to the period of 1890s as said. Okay, I hope you have got an idea about what it is. So we have already discussed that he is going to the third level of the Grand Central Station. Okay, just we'll have a look at the setting of the story. So it's set in the Grand Central Station in New York. So this is the picture. So Grand Central Station, it was officially opened on February 2, 1913. Okay. And in 1908, it was opened in the year 1930. During 1908, the excavation of the Grand Central Station began in the New York City. And this is a view of the balcony of in the Grand Central Station taken between 1930 and 1930s. This is where Apple Store is located today. So we will be moving to all these things. By the time means when we are reaching there, I will be showing you the picture of all those things. Okay. So we will just start with the lesson. The presidents of the New York Central and the New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only 2. But I say there are 3 because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Okay, so he is saying that the president of the New York Central and the New Haven and Hartford Railroad is swearing on the stack. Stack means the pile. Okay, the bundle of timetables that there are only 2 levels over here, but he is saying that Charlie is saying that there are 3. Why? Because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine among others. So yes, I have taken a obvious step, and I have talked to one of my psychiatrist friend among others. And what did he say to him? I told him about the third level at Grand Central he is fulfilling that desire or wish. Okay, so it's just he is dreaming while he is awake. Waking dream, wish fulfillment. He said, I was unhappy. And what did the psychiatrist say that? He was unhappy. That made my wife kind of mad. But he explained that he meant the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, worry, and all the rest of it, and that I just want to escape. So when the psychiatrist said that he was unhappy, his wife got worried. She rather got mad, and but the psychiatrist explained to her that the whole world is like that. The world is filled with war, insecurity, fear, worry, etc., and many other things, and we all want to escape from it, or rather Charlie wants to escape from it. Well, who doesn't? So he is asking, who doesn't want to escape from this? Everybody I know wants to escape, but they don't wander down into any third level at the Grand Central Station. So the psychiatrist is saying that everybody wants to escape from this stress filled life, but nobody will be just wandering. Wandering means roaming here and there and reaching the third level of the Grand Central Station. But that's the reason, he said, and my friends all agree. Everything points to it, they claim. My stamp collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from reality. So he's saying that, but that's the reason. And my friends all agreed. Maybe everybody will be wanting to escape. They'll be hallucinating, or they'll be thinking about many things. And everything points to it, they claim. And he's saying that my collection of means he has a hobby of stamp collection. So he's saying that even my stamp collection, for example, is a temporary refuge, temporary shelter. He's taking shelter from the stress. In order to hobby means it's just to make us take a relief from our day throughout means a day's stressful life, isn't it? So he is also saying that the stamp collection which I am doing is also a kind of a temporary refuge from the reality, from running away from the reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather didn't need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful in his day, from all I hear, and he started my collection. It's a nice collection too. Blocks of 4 of practically every US issue, first day covers, and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamps too, you know. So he's just saying that, but the people in the modern era wants to escape from their reality, but my grandfather during that time they never wanted to escape from the reality or take refuge on any of things. Things were running much prettier than these days, and he said that it is his grandfather who gave inspiration to start his collection, stamp collection. And he is saying that we have every US issue, the means all the US issue, the first day covers, and so on. And he is also adding that even President Roosevelt also collected stamps. Anyway, here is what happened at Grand Central. So he is just narrating what has happened. One night last summer, I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get up to my apartment, so I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than the bus. So he's narrating how he had reached the third level. So one day he had been working very late at office, and as he had to hurry to go to his house, he decided to take a subway. Subway means underground way. From where? From Grand Central, and because why? Because it is faster than the bus. So he decided to go through that because he can reach home much earlier. Now, I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who looked like just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Louisa, my wife. So he's just saying that I am an ordinary man of named Charlie and of 31 years, and I was wearing a tan. Tan means an yellowish brown color. Okay, and gabardine is a type of woolen cloth. Gabardine is a type of woolen cloth. Okay, and he was just wearing a straw hat with a fancy band over it, and he was just walking, and he passed a dozen of people who just looked like him, and he says that he doesn't want to escape from anything, but he just wanted to reach his wife Louisa quickly, as soon as possible. I turned into the Grand Central from the Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level where you take trains to the 20th century. Okay, so what did he do? Then I turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level where you take the trains to like the 20th century. Okay, I'll just show you. Yeah, okay. So here we have the picture was taken in 1919 and it is an outside view of the terminal from Vanderbilt Avenue and 42nd Street. This is where Charlie entered. Okay. So it is through here he entered the Central Station. Yeah. And what is he saying? Yeah, 20th century. It's a train. The 20th century limited was an express passenger train that ran between Grand Central Terminal and La Salle Street Station in Chicago. It was operated by the New York Central Railroads from 1902 to 19 until 1967. Okay, so this is the 20th century limited. It's a train. So he got into that so that he could get that train. Then I walked down another flight to the second level where the suburban trains leave from duct into an arched doorway heading for the subway and got lost. So then he, after climbing the first level, he then walked into the second level where the suburban means he could get a train or a vehicle which could connect small towns of a big city. Okay, and the trains leave duct. Duct here means duct means to drive into the water for a brief period of time. They will be floating on the water also for a brief period of time and got a duct and to an arched doorway heading for the subway and got lost. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of the Grand Central hundreds of times, but I am always bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on the 46th Street, 3 blocks away. So he always got into the wrong corridors and he would finally reach somewhere else. Okay, so all these things used to happen. Yeah, this is the background to the left. You see corridors and all those corridors and arches, and you can see the old ticket station that we are going to see. And one of the interesting feature of this picture is the ghostly feel of the people. Okay, it is appearing vaguely, the ghostly feel, and it was taken in the year 1912. So this is the arched corridor a way of escape. Maybe that's how the tunnel I got into, but I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. So he is saying that the tunnel that he got into may be a way out to escape, and that's why he just got into that. And many people like him will be just imagining things and getting into the tunnel and reaching the wrong place. And he said that he never said or discussed all this to his psychiatrist friend. The corridor I was in began angling left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. So when I just entered the corridor, it began it just went to the left and then down it was slanting downward, and I thought it was I have got into the wrong corridors. There are many corridors over there, and he thought that you had got into the view of the corridors. Okay, so he had walked into the wrong corridor, but he kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I didn't pass a soul. I couldn't see anyone over there. Only person who was walking through the corridors was Charlie himself. Then I heard that sort of a hollow roar ahead that means open space and people talking. So after some time I heard a hollow roar when we are just going to or when we walk in a tunnel, when we just we are about to reach the opening, we could hear the roaring of the air. Or here he said that he could hear the talking of the people. And the tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at the Grand Central Station. For just a moment, I thought I was back on the second level. But I saw the room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. And the man in the booth wore a green eye shade and a long black sleeve protectors. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Then I saw why they were open flame gas lights. Okay, so for a moment he thought that he had just again reached the second level. But it's after some time that he saw that everything was, there is a change. The rooms were smaller, and the people there were fewer ticket windows in that place, and the information booth in the center was wood, made of wood and old looking also, and the man in the booth was wearing green eye shade and a long black sleeve protectors, and the lights were so dim, and it's after that he noticed that it was because of the gas lights. There were brass spittoons on the floors. Spittoons means it's a vessel in which people can spit. These are the arch, okay, doorways, arch. The examples of arch, doorways. This is the spittoon, jar-like container. Okay, so we are having, so there were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint. A glint means a flash of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. Vest, the kind of dress. I think it's not here. Yeah, so he is taking from the vest pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch and frowned. So he just looked at the clock and watch and he frowned. And he wore a derby hat. That's what I showed you. The hat. Here we could get a clear picture. So the derby, the man in black is wearing a derby hat. Derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels. Lapels means the outward fold of a coat, extending from the collar, it extends from the collar to the he had a mustache of that shape. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890. So I said that he is going back to the 1890s someday. I never saw so many beards, sideburns. Sideburn means that the hair grown over the face, and fancy mustaches in my life. So they were having different kinds of mustache, fancy mustache. So he says that he have never seen such things ever in his life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with a lack of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high button shoes. Back of her, out of the tracks, I caught a glimpse of locomotive, a very small courier and Eve's locomotive with a funnel-shaped stack. And then I knew. Okay? So what is a locomotive? This is the power of a train that pulls the coaches. Okay? The power of the train that pulls the coaches. So the lady wearing the kind of dress of 1890s. Okay, so it's a mutton sleeve, so it becomes bigger over here, and the skirt they are wearing. And moving on to the chapter, to make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of papers at his feet. It was The World. The World is a newspaper during that 1890s, and The World has been published for years. The lead story said something about President Cleveland. I have found that front page since in the public library files, and it was printed June 11, 1894. So what was the date printed on the newspaper? June 11, 1894. So we have reached that time. I turned towards the thick windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. In the year 1894, and I wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg in Illinois. Okay, so he wanted a ticket to. So here he found the ticket counter and he found that he could go to anywhere in United States with his wife Louisa, and actually he wanted to go to Galesburg. So Galesburg is been here, Illinois. Okay. Yeah. So these are the trains that goes through that route. Yeah, Galesburg. Okay, these are the old pictures of the house and the things over there. Yeah. So he wanted to go to Galesburg. Have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead the roof, the streets. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long and people sat out on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly, the woman waving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around in a peaceful world. To be back there with the First World War still 20 years off and Second World War over 40 years into the future, I wanted 2 tickets for that. So he is just narrating or explaining how Galesburg looked or what were the things that were in Galesburg. It was a wonderful town still with big old frame houses. I showed you the kind of houses over there. Okay? Yeah? And huge lawns and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. Okay, the branches just some leaf fans with fireflies all around in a peaceful world. To be back there, okay? We were in Galesburg, and what is it? It was just 20 years for the First World War. It was 20 years before the First World War and 40 years before the Second World War. And he wanted to have 2 tickets to Galesburg. The clerk figured the fare. He glanced at my fancy hatband, but he figured the fare, and I had enough for 2 coach tickets one way. But when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. He nodded at the bills. "That ain't money, mister," he said. "And if you are trying to skin me, you won't get very far." And he glanced at the cash drawer beside him. So when he took out the money, the person who was sitting in the ticket counter said that these money is not, these are not the currencies that has been used now. Okay? So, and if you are trying to skin me, if you are trying to cheat me, you can't go very far. And he just glanced at the cash drawer besides. He thought that he is coming to cheat him. Of course, the money was old style bills, half again, as big as the money we use nowadays and different looking. I turned away and got out fast. There is nothing nice about jail even in 1994. So he just didn't want to go to jail, and he said that the jails are not pretty nice even in 1894. So he just got out from there. The currencies, I'll just show you the currencies that are being used. Okay? The old and the new. Okay. So he thought that that person have come here to cheat. So he just didn't want to go to the jail. Even in 1894, the jail looked horrible only. Okay, it's not pretty. And that was that. I left the same way I came, I suppose. Next day during lunch hour, I drew my $100 out of the bank, nearly all we had, and bought old style currency that really worried my psychiatrist friend. You can buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. Okay, my $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, but I didn't care. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. So on the next day, what did he do? During lunchtime, he drew $300 out of the bank, all the money that he had in the bank, and he just wanted to change these new currency with the old one, and this really worried the psychiatrist friend. And you can get all this money exchanged from the coin dealers, and the only thing is that you have to pay the premium. What is a premium? Premium is an additional charge or the cost that we have to give for the new money in place of the old money. Okay, and so he have to pay. And he said that my $300 gave me less than 200 in the old style. So when he exchanged the new money, that is of $300 with the old currency, it was less than $200, and he didn't care, right? Things were very cheaper during 1894. He said that eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. But I have never again found the corridor that leads to the 3rd level at Grand Central Station, although I have tried often enough. But he could never find that corridor that led him to the 3rd level in the Grand Central Station, although he had tried it for many times. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this, and didn't want me to look for the 3rd level anymore. And after a while I stopped. I went back to my stamps. But now we are both looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the but I sort of suspected because Sam is a city boy. He used to escape here and there and spend some time. City boy means have to have entertainment. He used to go from one place to another. So Louisa was pretty worried when I said about the third level, and she said that you can stop searching for the third level for the time being. And after again, Charlie went to his stamp collection. But after some time, both of them started to search for the third level. Why? Because they had a proof. And what is the proof? His friend Sam Rainer disappeared. Okay, his friend Sam disappeared and nobody knew where, but I sort of suspected because Sam is a city boy. He used to go from one place to another for the sake of entertainment, and I used to tell him about Galesburg. So he used to tell him about the Galesburg, and I went to school there, and he always said he liked the sound of the place. So Sam always used to say that he loved the sound of the place. And that is where he is, alright, in 1894. And here Charlie is claiming that, and he is, where is Sam? Sam is in Galesburg in 1894. Because he have reason for that too. One night, fussing with my stamp collection, I found, well, do you know what a first cover is? So we have here in the beginning here mentioned about the first cover. So what is the first cover? When a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of the sale. And the postmark proves the date. The envelope is called the first day cover. They are never opened. You just put blank paper in the envelope. Okay, so that is the first cover. That night, among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there. He found something. But there it was. It was there because someone has mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. That is what the address on the envelope said. And it had been there since July 18, 1894. The postmark showed that. Yet, I didn't remember it at all. The stamp was a 6-cent dull brown with a picture of President Garfield. Naturally, when the envelope came to Granddad in the mail, it went right into his collection and stayed there till I took it out and opened it. So grandfather had not opened it, so he is just opening. The paper inside was in blank. So usually the first cover had a blank paper, but here the paper inside had something written. It read 941 Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois, July 18, 1894. Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And Charlie, it is true. I found the third level. I have been here 2 weeks, and right now, down the street at the Dailies, someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing Nelly home, and I am invited over for lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. Okay? So, the cover had written, or there was a letter which said that there is actually a third level, and I am here in Galesburg, and I am going to enjoy a lemonade, and it's all very fine here. So, you too have to keep on searching for the third level until you find it, and you have to just come over here. The note is signed Sam. Okay? So, Sam had disappeared, and it was signed Sam. At the stamp and the coin store I got to, I found out that Sam bought $800 bought $800 worth old style currency that ought to set him up in a nice little hay, feed and grain business. He always said that's what he really wished he could do, and he certainly can't go back to his old business. So he wanted to do a grain business. So $800 would be fine to start a business. Not in Galesburg, Illinois in 1894. His old business, why? Sam was my psychiatrist. Okay, so what is he? He was his psychiatrist. And he says that he have reached the third level. So students, when you just read the story, we feel or we are being thrown into a situation where we are being put into such situations where we are not able to believe ourselves. We feel that it's not true, but it means whatever is happening will be strange. Okay, so these are the kinds of things that is being put around. Won't be able, it is hard to believe all these things. So what the story narrates about the Charlie's experience and what Sam have where Sam have reached, everything is something that brings us into a situation where we cannot believe the things as such. Okay, so you can just go through it, through the whole chapter, read through it thoroughly, and we can just clarify the doubts regarding the lesson in the next class. So that's all for today's class. Thank you so much.